Welcome to Caleb Can't Read. I'm Jordan Rabel.
I'm Caleb Terrence.
What's new?
It's been a week, so...
We've talked for an hour before this, but in order to keep it natural, we have to act like you just walked into the fucking room.
No, in order to keep it natural, we'd need to go in and then sit down and immediately start the podcast.
Just as soon as I open the door?
Yeah, if you wanted to keep it natural. It's too late now.
Just, hey man, how's it...
And the bad thing about that is we burnt out all the good energy. I'm already sick of you. I don't want to fucking be here right now.
Well, what do you recall from the last episode?
What do I recall from the last episode?
Yeah, where we're at and everything. I mean, I'm going to give a recap anyway.
We went over Howard Phillips Lovecraft, and how he was a piece of shit. But how he had good ideas, right?
Yes.
But also that he did not really have a chance to not be too big of a piece of shit, but also pushed that to the point of where it didn't really matter.
It was for sure going to happen.
Yeah, but I mean, to the extent that that he took that, I don't know if...
Right. So just as a recap, Howard Phillips Lovecraft, born and raised Rhode Island. He had his grandpappy Whipple just bringing him shit from overseas on his business ventures, lied to him a whole bunch of times, and whereas most kids, when they're lied to, grow up to realize, oh, that's not real.
Yeah.
He didn't necessarily do that, and he really thought...
He was no, I'm going to add to this. I'm going to build on this family tradition of being...
Yeah. All Latvians are gay. Arabs are doing, whatever. Whatever the fuck his grandfather Whipple told him, he fully formed it in his head and just grew up with yeah, I mean, that's common knowledge. You didn't know that about Canadians? Which we'll also reiterate here, he hates other white people too, based on just whether it's your religion or technically where you were from. Everyone hated Irish people back then. But he hated, I don't know, anybody, really. Unless you were from England itself. Actual UK, non-Ireland UK. It's that's all that he cared about.
Well, yeah, but I mean, yeah, fuck him, but it's still kind of sad. Because, obviously, he's just scared of literally everything.
Yes.
And you can see that come through in, what he writes.
Yeah.
So it's
which luckily he stepped away from that. So from where we left off, yeah, he did write a little bit more in his way topical things. He talked a lot about the dystopian future of where immigrants have taken over, or the mad Arab Al-Razed or whatever. But with Call of Cthulhu coming out and being published in Weird Tales, he really kind of saw this complete turnaround for his life, where he was for sure an amateur writer, and he still is. He's not getting better necessarily as a writer, but he is for sure seeing what worked, and he is gonna fucking run with it, which is great because it helped out everyone as far as the development of horror. Without Lovecraft, I would argue that we would still be, fucking talking about werewolves and vampires and shit, and I'm going to pretend Resident Evil 8 didn't just come out.
You don't think somebody else could have fucking done it without being such a piece?
Eventually, yes.
Yeah.
But it would have taken a lot longer.
Would it?
Well, I think so, because here's the thing. Lovecraft's mother and father both died in asylums. They both died of being crazy, and I'm willing to bet that a bit of that crazy got put onto our boy Lovecraft, and he had some wild ideas that I'm going to assume were not totally ideas he wanted to have, if you know what I mean. He's got an era of believability with some of this bullshit. But either way, let's begin, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
So with Call of Cthulhu just getting published, it's put our boy into the fucking limelight, and he follows it up with, again, a fantastic story. The popularity of Call of Cthulhu sent Lovecraft into a tailspin of his best work. of which was the case of Charles Dexter Ward. Unfortunately not published during Lovecraft's lifetime, basically throwing it aside because he didn't like it. Now, the story begins with the report that lunatic Charles Dexter Ward has somehow escaped his cell from the local insane asylum. The man was committed for his insane ramblings and strange physiological changes, which I don't think you can actually commit someone for, just having a fucking growth spurt or something.
I don't think that's what they mean, Jordan.
I think so.
No, I don't think they mean like he just got taller. Like I don't think he just finally got to 6 foot and they were like, no, you can't cheat, you're still a manlet. And then, like, stuck him in. Like...
Those cheekbones, sir, are criminal.
They're probably talking about insane physiological changes is, like, 2 dicks.
I don't think you could commit somebody for that either.
I mean, you could if you were jealous. I would, if I had the power to. Get out of here. You can't hold that much power.
Anyway, investigation leads to notes written by the Ward family doctor, Dr. Willett, who was making an attempt to learn why Charles was having these strange changes to both mind and body. Apparently, Ward has spent the previous several years in search of his ancestor Joseph Curwen's resting place. Now, Curwen was apparently an 18th century alchemist who needed human bodies for his experimentations. Whether these rumors are true or not is unfounded, but a raiding party was sent to apprehend him anyway. Onlookers say they heard strange things coming from his home when the raiders went in, lights and explosions. But after the horrified men came back out, they swore each other to secrecy, that they would never tell what happened in that home. Willett finds that Charles Ward did indeed find the site of Joseph Curwen's tomb, which has been all but destroyed. What he finds are not only Curwen's ashes, but notes for incantations. It's discovered that Charles did in fact manage to resurrect Curwen, who apparently looked so much like Charles that Curwen almost immediately killed and replaced him. The minute details in Charles' face being switched for Joseph Curwen explain the physiological changes.
Oh, okay.
And the insane ramblings of Curwen is what got him committed with Dr. Willett's fearful orders. Also, the doctor did notice the sprouting of a second dick was a little suspect, as Joseph Curwen evidently had.
2 dicks.
2 dicks. Same man. Yeah, but what if they're both, like, really small, though? Like, both of them are just nothing to really write home
I mean,
about.
fucking double bummer. If you had a little dick and then you sprouted a second little dick, you would definitely go insane and start rambling. Like, that's double fucked.
I would be excited at first that this sore is not a sore at all, and that it's really the sprouting of a second cock, and I'm like, finally, this is my chance. And then it ends up just smaller than the last one, and it's like, fuck! What am I supposed to do with this? Like, I've seen pictures of 2-dicked guys, and they are always...
Well, you've seen pictures of 2-dicked guys?
Yeah. Aren't you curious?
I mean, do you mean, like actual, honest-to-God 2-dicked guys? Or
Yeah, yeah.
Not just some weird...
Not weird Photoshop.
Not some weird hentai shit.
No.
That nobody here's into. To make that clear, but not just in that.
No, and they're always slinging. Seriously.
Are you sure it's not just like prosthetics?
I can't be sure because it's not like they were sending them to me directly.
Well, I mean, then don't state it like it's possible. I mean, I feel like if it was an actual thing and not prosthetics, like somebody would have a story about the 2-dicked dude they knew in like fucking high school. Like somebody would know about it. Like they'd be famous. We would have.
I mean,
like they'd be a legend. It'd be passed around. Like
it probably
twice.
is in those circles that stop it. It probably is getting passed around in those circles, but I'm not part of those circles, so I don't know.
No, you don't just keep.
Wait a second. This has nothing to do with Lovecraft anyway. This was a throwaway joke. We shouldn't be going.
If 2-dick dudes existed, you would have heard about one in real life. There's no way that would be immediate local legend and then expand from there.
While Charles is locked away. We will have this discussion a lot drunker later.
Okay, well, I'm following. Go on. Go.
While Charles is locked away, Dr. Willett continues his investigation. He finds that while he was still free, Curwen, acting like Charles, purchased a place out in a nearby neighborhood. Turns out it was built over the former site of Curwen's home. Willett breaks in and discovers a secret tunnel system built under the building from long ago, back when Kerwin originally lived there and left undiscovered. What he finds are notes on how to kill Kerwin, as well as plans made with other wizards... Shut up. As well as plans made with other wizards to capture and kill the world's most intelligent people, giving them their knowledge, which they can then use to control the world. While reading Mumbo Jumbo, Willett accidentally unleashes a demon that is the natural enemy of Kerwin and his co-conspirators. Why would he even have that page bookmarked?
Dude, I don't know. Like, all of this shit,
The demon rises with 2 vaginas. No.
Dude, no, as you went through that whole little segment there, I completely zoned out. It just sounded like you were taking your lips and just, making flapping sounds. I don't...
So,
yeah, that's it.
Well, I will say that
that's going to be all what tonight is, isn't it?
Oh, my God. We're going to patch it all up at the end, though. We're going to watch The Color Out of Space with Nicolas Cage.
I don't want to.
It's good.
It has Nicolas Cage. I don't want to watch it.
He is having a resurgence, sir.
I don't hate the man. I just don't like watching him in movies, okay?
He knows what kind of movies he's good in now, which are
none?
No, they're the purposely schlocky movies. He's been doing fantastic.
I don't want to watch Color Out of the Declaration of Independence tonight. I don't want to fucking do it. Jesus. This is going to be like a lecture, except...
My house, my rules.
That's not how it works.
Just wait until Nicolas Cage starts getting real racy.
This isn't your house. I don't respect your property at all. I have stashes all over this place. I'm ready to move in.
That is true. And also, I only pay rent here.
Yep.
So Willett faints and awakens to find the laboratory he was in sealed off as if it had never been there. Next to him is a note from the demon. Checkmark yes or no. Written in Latin.
No, it's not like a slab, like a little just...
Written in Latin, telling him to kill Kerwin while he takes care of the rest. Willett goes to the jail cell that holds Joseph Kerwin and says the incantation he discovered in the lab. Kerwin turns to dust, leading to the belief by everyone except Dr. Willett that Charles Dexter Ward has escaped. The story ends with the report of several men, in reality the associates of Kerwin, brutally murdered in their homes and their labs destroyed. So, as I mentioned before, the case of Charles Dexter Ward went largely forgotten by Lovecraft. Instead, he turned his attention to something he felt he needed to fix. He hated how alien horror stories were being done. You could call the gods from the Cthulhu mythos aliens, I guess, but in reality, that's exactly what they are. They're gods, not aliens. No, he took issue with aliens only ever being humanoid Martians that have real plans like world domination of human blood for biofuel or some shit like that. But why couldn't aliens ever just be animal in nature? Something that doesn't have any motive, that just needs to feed to survive. Not only that, but wouldn't it make more sense that a true alien wouldn't be something that lives on the same plane of existence for us? Like, why would it need to walk around on legs if maybe its planet doesn't have soft ground or gravity, no less? And so, Lovecraft began his work on The Color Out of Space. Okay. The story begins with a surveyor out of Boston, looking for information on a patch of land that has had its name scrubbed out from history. The townspeople won't talk about it, so he has no choice but to confide in the information given by a crazy old man named Ammi Pierce, who says he personally knew the farmer that lived there. You see, a meteorite landed in Farmer Gardner's field some time ago, all the way back in 1882. At first, the meteor shrinks, but the temperature never drops. As it does so, it gives off a color that the human mind can't even comprehend. In the movie, it's pink. Then it's struck by lightning 6 times in quick succession.
In the movie, it's just pink.
Leaving it to dust, yes.
Oh, well,
magenta.
I mean, that's understandable. I mean, how the fuck could they... Yeah.
Or that's as much color as we can perceive it as, I guess.
So wait, in the movie they just bring people up to it and they're like, look, it's incomprehensible, and they're like, it's pink, and they're like, no, you just can't see the rest of it.
No, because it's done better, and you're going to understand that once we watch it.
It's not done better because it has Nicolas Cage in it, Jordan.
This one has Lovecraft in it.
So? It's not, you're not making better points.
Now, when the crops next come in, It's like a fucking holiday. Those bitches are huge, and there's tons of it. Unfortunately, they taste like shit. Then it starts to spread to its surroundings a bit more over time. The plants glow in the dark, and Gardner's wife begins to go insane. To stem off rumors, Gardner cuts off contact from the outside world because that'll do it. The only person he confines in is his old man Ammy. It's A-M-M-I.
Ammy.
Ammy? Amy?
Yeah.
Ammy.
Yeah.
Ammy. Soon enough, one of Gardner's sons goes mad as well, and Gardner keeps his wife and son locked away in 2 separate rooms. Meanwhile, the vegetation turns gray and breaks apart like dust. Soon it happens to his livestock, too. The rest of his sons go missing as well, and when his son in the attic dies from sheer insanity, Gardner goes missing just the same. Amy goes to the farmhouse to see what's going on, finding it abandoned except for Mrs. Gardner in the attic, glowing with the accursed color. So Amy fucking caps her, just puts her out of her misery without second thought. Amy's a straight fucking G. He gets it.
Oh. I mean, I feel like that maybe got a little extreme there. I don't know. Just shoot her, like.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if so he's taking this guy's word for everything, it sounds like, and he's not really, he's like, yeah, so he had a shitty season at crops, so he went nuts, disappeared, and so I went to his home and killed his wife.
Oh, yep, both crazy.
Amy returns with 6 other men, where they discover Gardner's missing sons at the bottom of the well. The color shoots out of the well and up into the night sky as the posse runs away on horseback, all except Amy, who turns to see a small bit of color left behind that tries to follow the rest of the men, reaching out for them before returning to the well. Where it is still resides to this day. When the townsfolk return to the Gardner's land, it was nothing but a patch of gray dust. They find nothing but a dead horse and the well. The color out of space remained Lovecraft's personal favorite until his dying day, and a lot of Lovecraft fans feel the same. H.P. Lovecraft submitted the story to Amazing Stories magazine, founded and edited by Hugo Gernsback, who I'm unfortunately not going to get into too much here but he's basically the guy that, he's what the Hugo Awards are named after. It's the science fiction award. It's like science Emmys. Yeah,
I'm going to pretend that, Yeah, following.
Well, it turns out that even though Hugo accepted the story, he only ended up paying Lovecraft about $25 for his effort, about $350 in today's money. And Lovecraft had to constantly ask, "Where the hell's my damn money?" just to get it. It's just $25.
No, we already agreed on the money, so yeah. Don't worry, it's getting to you.
It's like all that you have.
Don't worry, man.
All you have is snail mail too. Like, there's no way to like Venmo me.
Well, why didn't Lovecraft just go in and like rough him? Oh yeah, never mind. Yeah.
I would have loved to see Lovecraft try and fight one of these other guys.
I would love to see Lovecraft fight anyone.
I feel like there's...
Actually, I don't know if I would.
I feel like he'd be a great contender against some kids on the playground, probably.
Actually, no.
Like, maybe, I don't know.
No. Maybe there's like a slight window in there.
He's got reach over a child.
It's sometime in his life, but at this point, like, how old is he? Like, he's past 30 because he got married and shit, right?
He got married. Yes, he's married to Sonia Green, the immigrant Jewish woman, which is just strange to me.
Stop saying. I don't. Why? Why do you bring that up every time?
Because it's him.
I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah, I know it's fine. I'm okay with it.
All that fucking means is like, yes, he's racist until the chips are down, and you know what?
It's not like he stopped.
This person's going to agree to be with me.
It's like, not like he stopped being anti-Semitic afterwards or something.
Yeah, no.
I just find it interesting that he was like, I hate all these things. I'm going to go marry the most sinful woman I can find.
Yeah, it makes him shittier. It's like that's the one thing that breaks his bigotry.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure behind closed doors he had something to say about it too, though. Sonia.
But yeah, no.
Well,
I mean, if you don't you owe Lovecraft money? Yeah. Like,
what's he gonna fucking do about it?
Yeah, I don't fucking
Well, feeling underpaid since the story was a huge success, Lovecraft essentially said fuck this and mostly gave up on writing for about a year.
Damn.
And when Lovecraft returned to writing, He never entered anything to Amazing Stories ever again, and even started to refer to Hugo Gernsback as Hugo the Rat. It was when he returned to writing that Lovecraft wrote what is my personal favorite story, The Dunwich Horror. I don't think Hugo the Rat is necessarily it. Like, these nerds can't get street cred, and now you call him something kind of vicious and cool, like, I hate this guy. Call him Tony the Blade. You're like...
I wasn't gonna, like, interrupt you to mention that, but it just seems so, like, lazy for somebody who writes such outlandish horror. Like, you know what I mean?
Again,
like,
he's not a great writer.
Yeah, I know. At the same time, it's like you think somebody that had, like, wronged you so harshly, like, the dude would come up with something better than Hugo the Rat.
Yeah, his name is Hugo Gernsback. I feel like there's so much to go from
Hugo, like, comes back. Yeah. Hugo, what else? What? Come on. Like, what do we... That's just one, and I'm drunk.
Yeah,
like,
I know. I mean, yeah, just Hugo the Rat. That's the
Hugo
best
Fatsback.
If he was
Hugo
fat,
ass crack.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If he was fat, call him the humpback. Something like that, you know. But it's like, I don't know.
Hugo bitchback. Hugo bitch smack. Like it.
You're going back into giving him cool names again.
Yeah.
My name is Hugo bitch smack.
My name is Hugo bitch smack.
My bitch up.
That's the name everyone else gave him when they found out he just wasn't paying writers. Hugo bitch smack.
Fives around the fucking corner. So, in the small town of Dunwich, Massachusetts, a boy named Wilbur Whately is born to a large albino woman named Lavinia Whately and an unknown father, with some suspecting it's Lavinia's own dad. Wilbur grows at an alarming rate, reaching full-grown manhood by the time he's 10. Give you 2 guesses.
I'm sorry, I'm still trying to come up with Hugo names. Please.
People stay away from the Whately farm with rumors of witchcraft, which is true. Wilbur's...
Oh, we're on a story now. We're not on...
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. We're on Dunwich Horror.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I really... Wow.
Wilbur's grandpappy is teaching him all manner of rituals behind closed doors, but the animals stay away from them as well, partly due to the weird odor that's constantly emanating from Wilbur. Sorry,
why are you looking at me?
Nothing.
I don't smell that bad. It's not that bad. I just don't care about your opinion, so I never shower before I come over. I come here straight from work and I smell like bar oil, BO, and sweaty cock, and I don't give a damn.
So people begin to notice the constant purchase of livestock from the Whateleys, but their herds never get any bigger. There are also open wounds on the livestock they do have, but soon enough the livestock on the Whateleys' farm begin to disappear. You see, the Whateleys are actually feeding a constantly growing invisible monster inside their attic. It and Wilbur have some connection to Yog-Sothoth, a god that is the embodiment of time itself, but is locked out of our universe. And the invisible creature has an ever-increasing
And it needs little nibbles from farm animals. Specifically, little nibbles.
It's kind of cute. Soon enough, Lavinia disappears due to unknown circumstances, while Grandpappy Whately dies of natural causes, leaving Wilbur to deal with his growing brother himself. I actually love... So, like, he's alone. Lavinia disappears, and the Grandpappy is dead now, so it's just Wilbur Whately alone in the farmhouse with his invisible monster brother up in the attic. And I love how the granddad, like, passes away. He's basically, like, in the bed, open window, and, like, these 4, like, little birds, like, come up to his windowsill, and they start chirping to his heartbeat. And as he's watching them, they're just, like, chirping quicker. They're just... until, like, basically his, like, heart gives out, and they all just, you know... then they just, like, fly away. And it was like, that's so fucking scary. That's fucking terrifying.
That's pretty fucking rad, actually. Yeah.
It's terrifying. So Wilbur goes to Miskatonic University to borrow their copy of the Necronomicon, one of the only originals in the world to exist. He needs a spell to, quote, open the door. But his family's
Get on the floor! Everybody walk down!
No,
sorry.
Stop. God
sorry.
Fucking damn it.
I'm sorry, it's a tick. It's a tick. I can't can't.
I have a specific form of Tourette's where only that happens.
I'm sorry. Just avoid saying it again.
His family's copy is too damaged and unreadable. Being the weird, smelly fuck that he is, Dr. Armitage, the librarian, just kind of goes, no. And that night, Wilbur attempts to break in, but his weird body odor infuriates the guard dog, who attacks with the intent to kill. Dr. Armitage and a couple others come upon the scene to see Wilbur's strange, half-human body wither away as he dies. Quote, and this is a big quote. The thing that lay half-bent on its side in a fetid pool of greenish-yellow ichor and tarry stickiness was almost 9 feet tall, and the dog had torn off...
What stickiness?
There's Atari stickiness.
Atari stickiness?
Yeah. Tar-like substance.
Oh, I thought you said Atari stickiness.
Like the video game console?
Yeah, I was picturing like a whole... I'm so sorry. Please proceed. Excuse me.
When did you think it was invented? What year do you think we're in right now?
I don't know. Maybe you're giving me a summary. Maybe you're just describing something real greasy to me. Like, I don't...
It is greasy. It's tarry. It's an Atari. Anyway, 9 feet tall, and the dog had torn off all the clothing and some of the skin. It was partly human, beyond a doubt. With very man-like hands and head, and the goatish, chinless face had the stamp of the Whateleys upon it. But the torso and lower parts of the body were teratologically fabulous. I don't know what that means. So that only
it's
generous...
incomprehensible, Jordan.
Oh, of course. He could have just taken this entire thing and just been like, his body was indescribable. Let's see. So that only generous clothing could ever have enabled it to walk on Earth unchallenged or uneradicated. Above the waist, it was semi-anthropomorphic, though its chest had the leathery, reticulated hide of a crocodile or alligator. The back was piebald with yellow and black, and dimly suggested the squamous covering of certain steaks.
So he just looks like you just were making an RPG character on the, and then you tried to fuck it up as much as possible.
Yeah,
like just not hit random, but just literally tried to make it as goofy as shit possible you could.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Below the waist, though, it was the worst. For there were two no. For here all human resemblance left off, and sheer fantasy began, spelled with a PH. Fantasy. The skin was thickly covered with coarse black fur, and from the abdomen a score of long greenish-gray tentacles with red sucking mouths protruded limply. Their arrangement was odd and seemed to follow the symmetries
of red lipstick kissy mouths at the end of the tent.
They're so sucky. Of some cosmetic geometry unknown to Earth or the solar system.
Don't tell the internet about that.
Don't tell the what?
Don't worry about it. Go on.
On each of the hips, deep set in a kind of pinkish, ciliated orbit, was what seemed to be a rudimentary eye, whilst in lieu of a tail there depended a kind of trunk or feeler with purple annular markings, and with many evidences of being an undeveloped mouth or throat. The limbs, save for the black fur,
oh god,
we're almost done here, roughly resembled the hind legs of prehistoric Earth's giant saurians, and terminated in ridgy, veined pads that were neither hooves nor claws.
I have a headache.
So do I.
Jesus.
I couldn't copy and paste from the internet because I don't think it's like just out there word for word. No, I had to look in. I had to open my book and I typed that all out. It took a long time.
So nobody even just has that like ready to go.
Why would you?
You're the first. You have to publish it or put it on Wikipedia.
Fuck.
Like,
well, Wilbur begins melting into the floor to leave no evidence of his presence. Time goes by with no one attending to the invisible growing monster they don't know is in the farmhouse, which eventually breaks open the roof and slowly makes its way. He's getting hangry. Its way to inhabited areas, cutting through trees and leaving giant footprints in the earth. Still hungry, it begins devouring entire families. Eventually, Dr. Armitage, the librarian, arrives with the knowledge of the Necronomicon. I don't know why I couldn't get that.
That's the easiest shit out of everything you just said.
I know. I can't believe I stumbled over that. Fuck. Well, just turn it off.
Well, that's a spanking. Wait, no. That's not. No, you just lost your spankings. How do you feel about that?
Worse.
I know.
So, eventually, Dr. Armitage, the librarian, arrives with the knowledge of the Necronomicon, creating a spell that visualizes the creature just long enough for the townspeople to kill it. What?
That was so worse.
It screams for Yog-Sothoth to save it before it dies, and the town is saved.
Town is like, what the shit? Like,
Yog-Sothoth! I don't think it... Is that...
What the fuck? Like,
speak English! You're in
go
America!
Go back into the woods, man!
Go back to Portugal! Dr. Armitage remarks that the creature and Wilbur were actually brothers, but the creature they killed looked a lot more like the father, Yog-Sothoth, than Wilbur did. Now, Lovecraft knew that he had a hit on his hands, but unfortunately, he lost all fervor.
He's like, I got gold here, boys.
It's dumb as shit, and no one's done it yet. But unfortunately, he lost all fervor for success at this point. People loved his last few stories, even the ones I haven't mentioned. But to Lovecraft, success doesn't mean shit if it doesn't pay well. So, for the Dunwich Horror, he started putting out letters for the editorial section of magazines, saying his new story was so, quote, so fiendish, Farnsworth Wright may not dare to print it. You remember that guy from Weird Tales that hates his guts?
Yeah, for good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, like...
Fucking Fartsworth out here.
No, dude.
We got Hugo the Rat and Fartsworth.
Yeah, those are the names he comes up with for...
Fartsworth is pretty good. I mean, if you name your kid Farnsworth, you're asking for it.
Fartsworth is cheap.
It is cheap.
It's not...
His parents didn't like him, clearly, before he was born. That was an unwanted pregnancy, if anything.
I mean, as far as, like, it being done before, there's no way he didn't go all the way through school with that. Like...
Farnsworth?
Yeah.
If you just told people my name is Derek or something. Like,
yeah, but until the teacher calls roll, and then your fucking cover is lost.
Oh, man, poor kids. That,
and they all look at him, and they're like, oh, you didn't want me to call you Fartsworth.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
I knew kids like that in school that would always, like, you know, hey, can you just call me, you know, Caitlin or something? And it's like, yeah. And then, like, as soon as a substitute teacher comes in, the girl you thought known was Caitlin was like, and where's Springtime? Springtime Johnson. And she's like, fuck, stop.
Just one hard bang, just... like, here. Fuck.
It was always the worst with, like, kids that had, like, super... Like there's foreign sounding names that are like, you shouldn't have smacked yourself like that.
Should have smacked the table. I was afraid of getting the mics over, man. Like,
should have punched me.
Just slapped you in the mouth.
Slap that ass. No, is like the you know, the kids with the foreign sounding names, like, they could get all the Hispanic names and, like, Middle Eastern names that anybody could ever throw at them. But if you had one kid that was, like, from fucking Mongolia, that was, like, just had something that could never be pronounced by the teacher, it took a long time. And sometimes they would just... Like, I knew kids, like, from Africa.
And the kids just, like, milking it, like, no.
Yeah. I knew...
Sorry.
Yeah, no.
That's not my name.
Yeah, I knew a kid from Africa, and granted, I don't even remember his name. But basically, like, the teacher the whole time was just like, and he was just like, like, just waiting the whole time, just like, Like, he knows exactly by last name. He's the only black
kid in the class, too.
Yeah,
like, he's just sitting there with yes, go on. Like, no, I'll wait. Like, time to shine.
How do you pronounce it? I go by Arnold. Oh, fuck. God damn it.
Yeah, they call me Arnie.
So he put this out, that the story was so fiendish, Farnsworth Wright may not dare to print it. And he fell for it. Farnsworth jumped on the Dunwich Horror as soon as it became available and paid Lovecraft $240 for the right to publish it, equivalent to around $3,500 today. And again, people ate it up. But even though Lovecraft was popular, the author himself wasn't doing too well. His sporadic writing meant sporadic paychecks, and he sometimes had to go without food just to afford stamps to mail all the letters he'd send out to magazines. And he sent a lot of letters. Lovecraft wrote almost 100,000 letters in his lifetime. He actually holds the world record behind Voltaire, and he only lived till 46. That's an average of 6 letters a day his entire life.
You just gave me a fat spoiler there, brother.
Oh, and he's still alive today.
Thank you. Jesus.
You know, we only do dead authors.
I mean, I didn't think he was healthy, but, you know, based on the...
Look at him.
Like,
he's ugly.
I mean, he's all fucked up, but I mean, for Christ's sake, I thought with how badly everything was going, then it would be extended longer, honestly. Like...
There's no way.
And he's still suffering right now.
Dude, he's like afraid of like vegetables. There's no way he was healthy. Like, I don't even think he was a drinker. I think he was totally teetotal. Oh, actually, I know he was, because he wrote a story called like Bugsy or something like that. Basically, he wrote in his early days a shitty little story that was like supposed to be kind of funny. He basically was frequenting this restaurant or something like that, and there was a kid that cleans at the bar who's saying, like, oh man, I almost made it to 21 and Prohibition is just starting. And I'm never going to get to taste liquor. And he's like, you know, liquor is not great. You know, and he's just like, it's not...
That's a thing
Yeah, Lovecraft of course, he's asexual, atheist.
Jesus,
he hates
dude,
liquor. Like,
damn, he just keeps... Now it's personal.
Those are my people.
Like, how dare you?
Yeah, no, so he wrote a funny little story that's basically like...
Like, I was holding out hope. I was hoping it'd be like, no, just because it's illegal doesn't mean you can't do it.
Yeah, no, he thought liquor was lame. He hated liquor. He was like, hey, kid, you're not missing anything.
This just doesn't make any sense. I don't understand how we can, like, live like that, but then... Oh, yeah, because he never moved. Yeah. Yeah.
Unless his Sydenham's chorea was causing him to move. Remember? Because he'd just jump out, like, really fucking... Just, you know? He had Tourette's of the limbs. Well, eventually, with all the time Sonia spent on the road for her job, Howard and she decided to have a divorce. Sonia moved to California in 1933, eventually remarrying in 1936, only to find out Lovecraft never filed the fucking divorce papers like he said he would.
Shasha, a classic.
Take that, immigrant. Like,
are you okay, at the same fucking time, though, like... I mean, look, yeah, no, that's shitty of him, but also, like, you just like, left and you were like, you're filing the papers, right?
He's mailing 6 letters
and
a
he's just
day
like,
on average.
You have my word. And then, like...
He should have. Like, clearly that was something he did on purpose.
Yeah, if he's going through that amount of fucking, like, shit he's mailing, you don't think maybe you're gonna get put on the back burner forever?
3 years?
Until it gets put back?
No,
like,
he for sure did that on purpose. He probably threw away those divorce
No,
papers.
I'm just saying, like, that on top of...
Yeah, I mean, he is a piece of shit. I don't know why she thought... I don't know. But, you know, she's in fucking California, and it's like, it's 1936 now. She's like, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. Me, the desk clerk, is telling you that Sonia Green is already registered to one Howard Phillips Lovecraft. Ah, fuck. My name's not Sonia Green. It's Sonia Blue now. Like, oh, fuck. Well, that's the way things work here in 1936, so sure.
Wait, also, how old was he at this point? Did you say? Or...
let's see. What year are we on?
and they're a solid, like, 10 apart, right?
They are 10 years apart, yeah.
Okay, what has she got to be in, like, her late 40s now?
She's got to be, yeah.
Do you really think she gives a shit at that point whether or not he actually files the papers?
I don't know. Now I'm just looking for the fucking papers. Oh, here we go.
Oh, you have the... Oh, no,
yeah,
paper,
yeah.
papers,
So he was born in 1890, so it's 1936, so he's 46.
Yeah.
When did I say he dies? Oh, 46.
We're coming up upon it.
We are coming up upon it.
Upon it. Yes, brother.
Now, meanwhile, Lovecraft moved in with his last surviving relative, his Auntie Annie.
Oh, one of them. Oh.
Yeah. One of the weeping night gods.
That's real bad.
And together they lived in poorer and poorer housing. Looking for some quick scratch.
We're going back into that abysmal dive.
This is the lowest point in my life. 1 of 6. Lovecraft went digging around for stories that Farnsworth had rejected from 5 years ago for quick scratch. So he's just digging through stories that he himself rejected. And was just like, fuck, I gotta give something. You see, the thing is, Lovecraft could not take criticism. It was one of the reasons he'd go several months between publishing stories. Either Farnsworth would reject him and he'd feel like a talentless hack, or something would be published, someone would say something shitty on the next month's editorial column, and then he'd get all upset and stop writing. But now being near penniless...
Man, I wish I could do that. just get real upset and stop doing my job.
He did come from a pretty wealthy household, and granted, while his mom had to move him to, like, you know, the poor houses, which I'm sure was only 2 stories or whatever, it's like...
Look, man, I can't imagine having to live in just like a 2-bedroom apartment or something. That would be awful.
I mean, that's what the poor people are doing.
I can't.
If they can afford a fridge, they're not even really poor.
Exactly. We've been over this.
I know.
Move on.
But now, being near penniless, Lovecraft didn't have much of a choice but to publish these stories. So he scrounged up some of his pages for a rejected story called At the Mountains of Madness, and got it published by Astounding Stories in February of 1936. To H.P. Lovecraft, there were 3 great unknowns: the ocean, space, and Antarctica. Speaking on his fear of space real quick, Lovecraft was alive to see the discovery of Pluto in 1930, leading to a story called The Whisper in the Darkness, which we won't get into, but it did show him that we don't know shit about our own galaxy, so who knows what else is out there. Anyway, concerning Antarctica...
It's a bunch of space and shit. It's not...
Yeah, literally it's called space because it's empty.
It's just a bunch of... It's just a bunch of space!
There's a lot of nothing. What do you think is out there in all that black? Nothing. That is the point. Anyway, concerning Antarctica, Roald... I should know this as a Norwegian. Roald Amundsen.
You're not a Norwegian,
I'm an American that identifies with it in the same way that people from Philadelphia identify with Irish people.
So
I'm a proud Norwegian.
You're just a white American guy. You know?
Yep.
Like, there's no reason for you to just, like, know how to do a Norwegian accent without making me cringe, which, by the way, it does every time.
Literally,
so.
I can trace back my family lines as
that's even possible.
Like in America, like through the 1700s.
I don't care.
Not. I'm just telling you, I'm pretty American. But anyway, so my Norwegian self, I believe it's actually called Roald Amundsen. How's that?
About as bad as I'd butcher anything in Spanish. So yeah, go on.
Well, he had reached the South Pole just 25 years before, but we were still no closer to understanding Antarctica. We didn't know what was under it, and we didn't know all of its geographical sites. I'll put it this way. By the time this story was published, a 3-year expedition had just concluded that surveyed 800 miles of land on the Antarctic Peninsula. When you look at how much space that covered on a map, what's wrong with your...
I don't know, man. Taste it. Taste it.
It tastes...
No?
No.
You don't taste the balls?
No.
Okay, excuse me. Please proceed.
You know how balls taste. This is not...
Yeah, I know. That's why it's so alarming. Oh, God damn.
When you look at how much space 800 miles covered on the map, it's fucking nothing. This, mingled with Lovecraft's own hypersensitivity to cold, formed the story, because of course he fucking did.
He's hypersensitive to anything. It doesn't need to be mentioned. It's just a real fucking just wet towel, man.
I'm serious though. A drop of weather could and did like drop the guy. Like, like he would feel the temperature difference and be like, "I must go." Like,
okay, I take it back. I'm amazed he made it to what 48,
46,
46.
As a matter of fact, to further accentuate how scared Lovecraft was of everything, here's his list of phobias as provided by Luc Sante from the New York Review of Books. Lovecraft was also frightened of invertebrates, marine life in general, temperatures below freezing, fat people, people of other races, race mixing, slums, percussion instruments, caves, cellars, old age, great expanses of time, monumental architecture, non-Euclidean geometry.
What? Whoa! What the? What the fuck is that? No, please stop and Google that shit.
Okay, hang on.
Don't brush over that. Grab your fucking phone.
Because neither one of us knows what it.
No, what the fuck? It's got it. No, I don't. All right,
Euclidean.
Here we go.
Oh, is that where the clitoris is? Oh, Grecian.
What?
Yeah, non-Euclidean.
Non.
Like non-Euclid. Like Euclidean is.
All I'm hearing is you and clit. Okay, I don't.
The clitoran is so relating to or denoting the system of geometry based on the work of Euclid and corresponding to the geometry of ordinary experience. Euclid is the.
Damn it! It makes less sense.
No, he's a Greek mathematician basically.
Right.
So I believe. But anyways, yeah. So shit, that wasn't super straight lines. Like if he lived to Frank Lloyd
Holy
Wright,
shit! Is he racist about geometry?
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude! Christ!
Like if he lived to see Frank Lloyd Wright's fucking like structures that he made from folding paper, he'd be like, nah! Like,
dude, what the? Okay, yeah, glad we Googled that.
Hang on, I'm only halfway there.
Sick. Let's go.
Deserts, oceans, rats, dogs, the New England countryside, New York City, fungi and molds.
Just the New England countryside.
Viscous substances.
Viscous. Yeah, all right, I'm following.
Medical experiments, dreams, brittle textures, gelatinous textures, the color gray.
Indescribable colors. Very indescribable colors.
Like, plant life of diverse sorts, memory lapses, old books, heredity, mists, gases, whistling, whispering. The things that did not frighten him would probably make a shorter list.
Holy shit! Is that it? Did they fucking?
From there to there. That's everything.
What's the? No, okay. That's fucking absurd. That's absurd. What's the?
But we know so much.
Where did you get that?
The internet. But the thing.
No, where did you get that from on the internet? You can't just fucking.
I said it's from. It's by Luc Sante from the New York Review of Books.
Okay, yeah, but he talks so much shit about other people, you don't think they were just talking mad shit about him? There's no fucking way that this is just documented fucking phobias.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying, though. If he sent 100,000 letters in his lifetime, unfortunately, people have gone through all of it. That's how we know so much about his
sick of his shit,
life.
and now they're...
Yeah, but he's talking about how much he's afraid of things all the fucking time. He will not stop about being terrified of fucking everything. Anyway... Let's get into the Mountains of Madness.
Cool. Let's get back into not fun.
Now, while the story itself is quite lengthy, it's packed with scientific studies and correct logging for geological studies, sediment measuring, and biological measurements.
Okay, yeah, see, that shit right there is why, like, I have had that...
You've had what?
Playing, on YouTube while I go to sleep for 5 minutes before it makes me pass the fuck out, like every goddamn time.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's the thing. So if you'll remember, though, he's really into astronomy, not just to stargazing, but like he loves.
Could we forget?
Yeah, he loves the scientific element and stuff. He loves science in general, but he's bad at math. But he does have a fascination
science,
with
he's
this
just
shit.
bad at it.
Exactly.
And math.
That's why this is very fictional, is because, it talks about fucking dirt for like a page. Like,
yeah, let's not say that somebody that's as racist as this dude is like a logical being.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Like,
so you take all that away and you're left with a kind of short story. But I mean, that's okay. It's meant to read like a scientific journal for realism's sake, and it does. In that it's lengthy and it's dull. So anyway, the story itself reads as the testament of William Dyer, a professor of geology at Miskatonic University. He details the coordinates of a mountain range in Antarctica, which was to follow an advance team led by Professor Lake.
Sick.
Oh, you heard that too?
Oh, I heard that fucking Honda.
Yeah. As soon as I hear something like that, I'm like, this is an Accord? Or this is...
No. Somebody was bombing up there in their CRV.
Oh, yeah.
Like...
So, William Dyer is... he's mapping out mountain range in Antarctica, and he's listening into the radio from the advance team led by Professor Lake. A transmission comes through...
No, MDX, excuse me.
Oh,
please, listeners, excuse
me.
So sorry, that's a whole different thing.
The people that are listening to this know nothing of cars.
Why would you assume that? Hey man, maybe guy in Ohio actually,
Yeah.
Is a big car guy, and then he just listens to our podcast while he works on the stuff.
You know, that guy from Houghton, Ohio? Or is it Houghton, Ohio?
That guy from Ohio who hopefully isn't a paranoid schizophrenic, or we just caused a serious problem. Go on.
Fuck. Well, now I'm going to start checking out the goddamn news in the Ohio Herald or whatever.
No, like...
When we upload the
Don't
episodes,
explain it.
I'm just, on the off chance, when we upload episodes, it tells, I can look at the stats and see, like, everyone who's listened to our stuff, and it's kind of cool to see the map. And I just see this one
The
person.
coolest part is the immediate access to the camera on your laptop, phone, or computer where we can see you always. Yeah.
You hear me, man from Ohio? And our one faithful listener has been that man from Houghton, Ohio.
You feel real stupid when it's from the other one.
Hey, go on to calebcan'tread.com and tell your friends.
Yeah.
So, anyway, a transmission on the radio comes through, detailing the discovery
Plot
about...
twist is a chick.
A real woman.
A real woman with very real paranoid schizophrenia.
Oh, God, she's into that whole gang stalking thing.
Whoa,
where she's
what?
Just,
Whoa, what?
You know, that thing where you accost the mailman for following you and shit. You know?
Shit.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
Is it? I don't...
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. No, God. No, off track. Off track.
We're going to watch that shit on YouTube later, because they always upload their shit to YouTube, and it's fascinating. Really sad.
Seems kind of exploitive, actually.
I mean, to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm giving them revenue, though. I mean, fuck it.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm putting in my views. A transmission comes through, detailing the discovery of about a dozen odd-looking creatures buried in the ice. Looking at how far down these creatures are, measuring the layers of dirt and ice above them, these creatures would have been some of the largest during the Cambrian Age, a bit larger than the humans in the times when all of that around were, you know, isopods and that, you know, those roly-poly looking things and a bunch of fucking shrimp. In short, these things shouldn't even exist. Eventually, the transmissions stop coming through, so Dyer leads his team up to Professor Lake's camp to investigate. Everyone is fucking dead, sled dogs included. It's like The Thing. Dyer and his team...
one sled dog was left in The Thing, actually.
Oh, well, excuse me.
That's how he infected everyone else.
You don't need to explain it to me. You really don't. I'm a little offended.
Okay, well, I mean, then be
Where's
right
the
next
other
time.
one?
The other, I drank it.
Oh, I see
is
that.
gone now. We are down to the bottles.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Not more readily available liquor. What'll I do?
It's not liquor, it's beer. Wait, is that liquor?
Well, I mean, not what we typically... It doesn't matter. Anyway. Eventually, they stop coming through, everyone's dead, sled dogs included. Alright, so Dyer and his team discover the creatures that were found buried under the ice, and they look like giant starfish. Most of them seem damaged under the ice, but a few star-shaped holes are cut out of the other snow mounds with the specimens gone. When inspecting the remains of their camp, the team finds a man and a dog from Professor Lake's party dissected on a table. Checking the team's roster, they find a man missing. Believing this man to be the murderer, Dyer and a man from his team named Danforth get into a small plane and head for the mountains. Flying over the tops of the mountain range, Dyer and Danforth discover an abandoned ancient city. Landing within it, they adventure around some of the abandoned architecture. Deciphering the strange hieroglyphics transcribed on the walls, it appears some sort of alien life form landed on Earth and established a city sometime around the same period that the Earth's moon began to take form. Thinking themselves cute, they hearken back to an old tale they read from the mad Arab Abdul al-Hazred's Necronomicon and decide to name these creatures the Elder Things due to the similarities in origin. Little do they know, that's exactly what they fucking are. Deciphering more hieroglyphics, Dyer and Danforth find the city was built by mindless, sludge-like creatures called Shoggoths. Over time, the Shoggoths learn independence and rebel. Their revolution is quelled by the Elder Things, but they're not killed. The Elder Things need the Shoggoths as servants to better survive. As the Earth's climate began to change over the course of the next million years, it was the laboring Shoggoths that could better survive on land, while the Elder Things had to crawl into the depths of the ocean for survival. The murals on the walls also suggest some unknown evil lurking beyond their own city on the other side of the mountains, something even the Elder Things were afraid of. Looking at these hieroglyphs, Dyer and Danforth realized that those starfish-looking things they found back at Professor Lake's camp were indeed Elder Things, and those motherfuckers have been thawed. Continuing their exploration around the city, Dyer and Danforth come across the body of the missing explorer from Professor Lake's camp at the mouth of a large cave. He'd run away from the slaughter at Lake's camp, but could only make it this far. For some inexplicable goddamn reason, they decide to explore this cave. Upon finding 6-foot-tall penguins that were used for livestock that are still somehow alive, though blind from millennia of living in the dark, they also come across the long-dead corpses of Elder Things. Soon enough, a bubbling, slimy mass...
So, okay. Sorry. Let's, I'm gonna get lost here unless we recap. So, there are thawed-out giant starfish gods that have been using penguins as livestock.
Yes.
And I remember that correctly?
Yeah.
That's not a problem I'm having.
Nope, that's it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, go on.
Soon enough, a bubbling, slimy mass with multiple eyes floating around on the surface comes towards them.
But wait, there's more.
It's a Shoggoth looking to kill. Dyer and Danforth
What do
race...
those look like again?
It's just a slimy mass with a bunch of eyes. Oh. It was just made as slave labor, basically. That was their whole thing. And the slaves rebelled. Yeah.
Okay.
Dyer and Danforth race as fast as they can out of the
would
city.
They have slaves with just a bunch of goddamn eyes for farming penguins?
I mean, to build cities too, but it doesn't seem like...
Farming penguins?
It seems like construction's really hard. They make you wear a lot of PPE, so having a bunch of eyes...
Are you fucking with me right now?
No,
is that really what he wrote?
It's big albino blind penguins.
Farming 6-foot penguins?
Yeah.
With weird monkey
you ever
eye
had
things?
penguin meat? It's delicious.
No, don't. Is this a bit?
No.
Are you tricking me? That's what he... Okay.
Why would I trick you with
because
this? I'm
it
not
sounds
that
stupid.
It
I don't know.
Stupid.
Like,
I told you, Lovecraft stuff is not that great. He's just...
God damn.
I love Lovecraft. I plan on getting...
But it was great at the beginning, and then we get into...
Look, full disclosure, I am in talks with the tattoo artist to give me a Lovecraftian design on my arm. I think his tales are great, but they're not written well. But still, the ideas he came forward with revolutionized horror, and I'm a huge horror fan. But yeah, there were 6-foot-tall albino blind penguins. Big deal. And Shoggoths that had a bunch of eyes.
I forgot 2/3 of the detail on that, and I wish we would have stayed there. Anyway, go on.
Go back and listen to it again. I don't care.
Proceed.
Just bam, bam, bam. 30 seconds on that Spotify. Bam. Go back 45 seconds.
You will see they are indeed albino and blind. Does that clear it up for you?
Now, Dyer and Danforth race as fast as they can out of the city and onto their plane, quickly gaining altitude and making their escape. Luckily, the clouds dissipate for easier piloting for Dyer, but Danforth looks behind them. Anticipation. Possibly seeing the unnamed evil beyond the city that terrified the Elder Things. Quote, I felt him turning and wriggling about as he looked back at the terrible receding city. Ahead at the cave-riddled, cube-barnacled peaks, sidewise at the bleak sea of snowy, strewn foothills, and upward at the seething, grotesquely clouded sky. It was then, just as I was trying to steer safely through the pass, that his mad shrieking brought us so close to disaster by shattering my tight hold on myself and causing me to fumble helplessly with the controls for a moment. A second afterward, my resolution triumphed, and we made the crossing safely. Yet I am afraid that Danforth will never be the same again. With Danforth driven insane by what he's witnessed, the story ends where it began, with Dyer being the only man left alive and of sound enough mind to have seen the city and describe it, and he once again makes the plea, don't go back.
Why are you looking at me like I should have a response to that?
The end.
Yeah, no, what
Nothing.
Fuck.
I needed a breather. I'm fat and I read a lot. I'm out of breath.
If you need a breather, take it away from the mic. Jesus. All right, baby steps. First we'll work on the coughs, then we'll work
they're
on the
only
breathing.
baby steps. I can't run fast.
No, you're built more like a toddler. Actually,
I gotta do that toddler run.
you're an almost 6 foot toddler.
It's just as terrifying when I fall down, too. It's just like, oh, no, just act like nothing's wrong. Act like nothing's wrong. Jordan, wow. Oh, good job. Yeah. Hopefully I'll just get up and start clapping with you.
I mean, it's terrifying for the other people around you. Like, oh man, is my day about to be derailed because like his body can't handle the force of his fat ass hitting the ground without.
I'm just gonna have to give him CPR and taste that McDonald's on his lips. So the thing is, even though the novella ran for 3 issues and Astounding Stories, the editor there highly edited the content because that's what a good editor would do. But Lovecraft was pissed. He was pissed that the editor spell-checked his work and changed some of the punctuation. And he didn't misspell things for artistic ingenuity. Lovecraft just couldn't spell. Ingenuity, I meant integrity.
Do you need to take a second to just kind of get the burps out? That's okay.
Nope.
Are you sure?
Pat me on the back.
Do you want me to pause it?
No. He would later refer to the editor as that goddamn dung of a hyena. What's funny, though,
Okay,
is that...
there! Oh, boom! Boom!
What?
It only took him till his 40s to come up with something. That's not bad.
No, but here's the thing. He misspelled hyena wrong, too. He's trying to make a point about spelling corrections.
Oh, no.
So in a pissed off rage, Lovecraft tore out his pages of At the Mountain of Madness from the magazine.
I'll throw out everything!
I'm sure it took him a really long time to tear out paper. Just...
Fuck yeah, dude.
He tore out pages from the magazine and made
Just
a bunch of edits himself.
Like a huge chunk of pages and then like slips off and every single ridge cuts him.
This is the worst day of my life.
Auntie! Help!
When his works were collected and printed after his death, the publishing company used these notes that he had as the basis for how they would print the story. There were over 1,000 spelling errors, and they didn't correctly edit the story again until 1985 and admit that Lovecraft just couldn't goddamn spell. Like, they were just like, no. It's artistic integrity. And really, it's just like took a really long time.
We're like, yeah, no,
like,
it's the artistic integrity and the names he makes up. But aside from that, we're still using fucking English. So, like, before we publish it,
I'm surprised he could spell his name correctly. Fuck. Like,
yeah,
I told you, Howard doesn't have a Y in it. It's Howard. Leave me alone.
how it sounds. Howard.
Now, despite all the bullshit, At the Mountains of Madness was and still is considered one of Lovecraft's greatest works. A lot of sci-fi was based on this story. It actually helped launch a genre of fiction called hard science fiction. What it is the idea that you can't have fantastical elements in your story if you can't explain it. Basically, it was seen as sci-fi for grown-ups.
Oh.
Stories like 2001: A Space Odyssey, Contact, and Jurassic Park would all take notes on how Lovecraft presented his science fiction work. The story also helped introduce the idea of the ancient astronaut theory to a lot of people, which is unfortunate because that's all bullshit. That's not to say that the story didn't have its criticisms as well, though. At the Mountains of Madness was different, not just from the traditional Lovecraft, but traditional sci-fi as well. People got strangely upset by the story, which is kind of funny. So, when sci-fi first started, the father of science fiction...
Because it started out good and ended up with an albino penguin farm run by squid people. And
no, strangely enough, you are the only person upset by that fact.
It just seems like it started out so good and then...
No, that's the thing. So, all right, so basically, so when it came to sci-fi, Jules Verne is the father of science fiction. He's the guy who made 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, The Mysterious Island... around anyway, but all of his shit was like basically his science fiction. He explained it. So when they actually first created a submarine, they used like Jules Verne's writings and drawings and based it off of that for how can a man breathe underwater, shit like that. Any subnautical shit, basically came from Jules Verne. Eventually, people got away from that because of people like H.G. Wells, who were just like, I just like fun. And Jules Verne was like, you're fucking up everything. It's not meant to be fun. This is serious, you know? But like...
It's a serious business.
So it went away from that, and then eventually, like, you know, less than 100 years later, there you got Lovecraft bringing it back up again. Like, it's more realistic if you're able to explain it in a scientific way. And it's like, sure, I get it. Like, Jurassic Park would not have worked had they not kind of explained it a little bit. Like, how did you bring up these dinosaurs? I found them, you know? Like...
Don't worry about it. Do you want to see the dinosaurs or not?
Do not worry about it.
I mean, you still would have watched it, but, you know.
Yeah. Anyway, it was during the time of At the Mountains of Madness that Lovecraft saw the publication of his only book while he was alive, and the last of his stories that we'll cover this episode, The Shadow over Innsmouth. Our narrator describes recent events. What? All right, pause it.
What? Don't say pause it. That's the whole thing for the hand signals.
It'd be weird if there's that pause.
No, it's fine. We do all that. No. That's the hand.
Pause it.
No. The hand thing is for like, oh, okay, I'll find a good place because you have to pee.
All right. Hey, however you want to explain
and you have ruined it. Do you feel bad? I do.
Right. God damn.
God.
All right. So. The Shadow over Innsmouth. Our narrator describes recent events. The U.S. investigation into the town of Innsmouth, Massachusetts. Many of its residents arrested and placed in internment camps. And a U.S. submarine torpedoing the nearby Devil Reef. The press have been told it all has to do with prohibition. But why?
Go on.
But according to the narrator, it's something much more nefarious than mere hooch. Our narrator says that he was on tour of the New England coast while in between semesters. His next stop was Innsmouth. But while he was in the previous town of Newburyport, he collects a little information on its history. Apparently, once a shipbuilding colony, the town had a rapid decline of visitors after an unknown illness wiped out half the town in 1845. One of the residents at the time was a man named Obed Marsh, who ran a gold refinery there. But more importantly, he established the town's current religion, the esoteric Order of Dagon. While speaking with the townsfolk of Newburyport, the narrator also finds an uneasiness when it comes to the people of Innsmouth. Apparently, they don't take too kindly to outsiders. While in Innsmouth, the narrator finds that the people there walk with a strange sort of limp, have flat noses, wide mouths, and bulging eyes. The whole place is dilapidated and smells of rotting fish.
It's just like, I don't know what's wrong with them, and they're just clearly fish people.
They have gills and webbed fingers. In true to form...
The most roundabout way of describing that they're just fish people.
No, Caleb, they're indescribable. In true to form, the people barely give the narrator a passing glance. But when he wanders into the local grocery store, he finds a normal-looking clerk at the register. The guy says he was sent there by the chain after the last person left, which apparently happens fairly often. Thing is, not everyone manages to come home. There are frequent disappearances for the outsiders of Innsmouth. But hey, you want to learn a little history of the town? Go get a guy named Zadok Allen drunk, and he'll tell you all about it. So one bottle of whiskey deeper into his days, Zadok tells our narrator a bit more about Obed Marsh, the man who put Innsmouth on the map. Apparently, while sailing around the Caroline Islands in the Pacific, he came across a tribe of fish-like people that gave human sacrifices to the great old ones in the ocean deep. Over time, their tribe... Shut up, it's serious.
No, I just love how casually you said that.
Well, they warned me this would happen if I got the local drunk.
A tribe of a town of fish-like people that were giving sacrifices out in the deep.
Fucking, I had that happen to me practically today. I went to go pick up my car from Les Schwab. I had a puncture in the tire. And I asked this guy...
And they were like, well, a town of fish-like people down the way.
No, I asked this guy how old his dog was. And that sent me into about a 15-minute story of his life.
Man, you gotta practice. You know how I have the inability to be polite
Yeah.
And when I'm done with the conversation, I literally just shut down and then like walk away.
I've never seen you leave mid-conversation.
It's because you're genuinely engaging most of the time.
I should try that someday.
Literally just go completely blank-faced, because usually what it is like what's happening is so fucking boring that it just like shuts down, and then I just go like, and then I turn, and then I go about my business. And you can just do that.
I've seen people try and say like, you know, like, oh, I just say some crazy shit and get them to want to leave, and it's like, yeah, but what if he agrees? You know?
No, you can literally just stop and then go do whatever you're doing.
I should have just told them, hey, sorry, but I must leave. I just shit my pants. That may have worked.
Have to do that. I mean, they're immediately going to look at your ankle to see the validity of what just happened. Like
my ankle?
Yeah, because that's where it's going to be dripping out.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
No, sir.
I mean, if you're going to be shitting your pants, it's not going to be
solid. These are not alcoholic
like...
shits. No. These are... Well, sir, I did it on purpose, first off. And my fiber intake has been grand. Over time, their tribe had bred with the great old ones, resulting in a hybrid race that looks like normal people in adolescence, but becomes more and more like the great old ones as they age. Eventually, their version of retirement is swimming down into the deep to live in the great old one's city, where they live as immortals. Obed took these secrets back to Innsmouth, where his esoteric order of Dagon continued the human sacrifices. And sure enough, the great old ones brought them gold and other riches from the ocean in return. When the townsfolk of Innsmouth found out about this, Obed and the rest of his cult were arrested. But when the sacrifices stopped, the great old ones wiped out half the town in a massacre. Seeing the results of what happens when you stop the rituals, the rest of the town let Obed go to
I guess
continue
we're
the rite.
fishmen now.
I guess this is it. There's no way I can ever move one town over. They let Obed continue the rite, where the townsfolk would be forced to breed with the great old ones until they reach maturity, to live in the city beneath Devil Reef. The tides change in front of Zadok and the narrator as he tells the tale, and Zadok warns him that they've been listening, and the narrator needs to skip town. Forced to breed with fishmen.
God, this fucking guy.
Have you never watched SpongeBob SquarePants and just been turned the fuck on? Like,
well, he didn't either.
Can you feel it now, Mr. Krabs?
They did. They did very much so.
And of course, the narrator dismisses it as bullshit. Why wouldn't he? He just got an old fisherman drunk and listened to him bullshit for the last half hour. But after that night, Zadok is never seen again. He's just down in the ocean, just being...
Stop it. No. Yeah, they're just giving you the chuckles. It's making you grab your fucking belly.
I'm not grabbing my belly, I'm grabbing
You're
my
literally
heart.
grabbing your fucking
I'm grabbing my heart because it hurts.
Your heart is not in the fucking... Your heart is not in your goddamn right tit, you weirdo. Like, what the...
Feeling my nipple.
God, son.
So, the narrator tries to leave on the next available bus out of town, but wouldn't you know it? Engine trouble. Guess you gotta stick around Innsmouth for another day. That night, the narrator tries to sleep.
Got too rusty from the sea.
Looking like a fucking snack. That night,
God damn it.
The narrator tries to sleep, but hears a rustling outside his door. Quickly, he jumps out the window.
You understand we are talking about like a non-consensual scenario here, even if it is like a Lovecraft horror. Like,
you don't know that.
I mean, you've described that.
I said the word forced, but, you know.
That's not... Yeah, no.
I'm not going to go any further into this.
Okay, we're ending that. No.
So quickly, he jumps out the window while a citywide search for him begins. Can you imagine it's fish people and fucking, like, chaps just looking for him?
Brother.
He makes his way down to the train tracks and hides as his search party comes limping past him.
It's totally fish people in chaps. All right, I'm on the same page. All right, go.
They're just freshly paddled. Wouldn't you know it? The one with two dicks has been limping around.
No, the man of two dicks died long ago. We're in Innsmouth now. All right.
These are the great old ones, men with fish heads and gills and huge eyes and webbed hands. They croak out a language he can't understand, and he faints with fright.
Is it because it's croaking? Like, damn, that's beyond me.
When he awakens the next day, he goes to a nearby town to alert the authorities, bringing us back to the opening of the story. However, upon researching his own family tree, the narrator discovers that he is a blood relative of none other than Obed Marsh. As he ages, he finds that he, too, is getting the Innsmouth look. In dreams, the great old ones communicate with him, saying that they'll stay in the ocean for now, but they will return to make tribute for the great Cthulhu. At first, the narrator plans to kill himself, but as his mind breaks, he decides to join the rest of the fishmen in the deep. It is a fantastic story. It's one of my favorites. Unfortunately, the book is all about the dangers of race mixing. That's literally what
the moral?
It actually is.
Oh,
yes.
No.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
I'm not reaching for the fucking stars here. Lovecraft stated in personal letters how much he was influenced by a story called The Harbor Master by Robert Chambers and Fishhead by Irvin Cobb.
Oh,
and
they're
stories
fine, right? They're not
are all about race mixing. I don't think it's too far fucking fetched that someone like Lovecraft loved the idea. Anyway, the story was originally finished around the end of 1931 and tossed aside for a later time. A friend of Lovecraft's found it, loved it, and sent the story into Weird Tales behind Lovecraft's back. Surprisingly, Farnsworth really dug it, but he couldn't print it due to its length. Too long to print in one issue, too difficult to split into two because there weren't any good stopping points. So it was in 1935 that Lovecraft said, fuck it, I need money, let's publish it ourselves. And The Shadow over Innsmouth was printed by the Visionary Printing Company in late 1936. This company was run by the same guy who ran another magazine called Marvel Tales that ended up being one of the precursors to Marvel Comics. Anyway, the book came out, and Lovecraft was not impressed. The pages were printed crooked, the binding was all loose so the pages would fall out. Above all were these spelling errors. There were so many spelling errors that somehow Lovecraft noticed, and he sent a letter to Visionary Publishing with corrections, which of course were also misspelled. And Visionary Publishing was just like, thank you, we'll go right ahead and fix this on the second printing. But even though, again, people would later go on to love the story, it wasn't fully appreciated in Lovecraft's time. Visionary Publishing was set to print just 400 copies of the first edition, but only managed to print 200 as kind of like a trial run. Practically nobody bought it, so Visionary Publishing just destroyed the other 200 copies before they had a chance to be bound to the cover. Those first edition copies go for about $7,000 now. Now, it was due to the poor sales of this book, as well as the criticisms of At the Mountains of Madness, that Lovecraft essentially ended his career as a writer in 1936 at the age of 46. It was at the end of the year that Lovecraft was...
because he died.
Yeah, but it seemed like he was making that decision himself anyway. It was at the end of the year but that's the thing is we also talked about how anytime anybody criticized his shit, he would take like a year off writing. Be like, I'm no good to anybody. But it was at the end of the year that Lovecraft was feeling some pain in his stomach. He'd been feeling it before, but shit, he was just a sickly individual and he knew it. So he just lived with this pain until it became unbearable for him. In February of 1937, Lovecraft visited a doctor, overcoming his phobia of them, and found out he had terminal intestinal cancer. Had he not ignored his pain, there might have been something they could do for him. But now, he had 1 month to live. That is a short fucking order, Jesus Christ. They kept him at the hospital to ease his transition, and Lovecraft, being ever fascinated by science, kept a diary of his moods and what he was doing and what he ate, which probably didn't matter to the doctor anyway because they knew he was going to die soon.
A bit late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he still kept writing in this stupid little diary until his pain got so bad he couldn't hold his pen. He died a slow, painful death on March 15th, 1937, at the age of 46. His headstone reads, "I am Providence."
Okay.
Rhode Island.
Oh, man.
Providence, Rhode Island. Yeah. He was very proud of his town.
So this dude that had a terrible upbringing and was scared of everything his entire life died shitting his pants?
Yeah. Don't we all die
man.
shitting our pants?
Yeah, but not like violently while you're still awake.
No. I mean, philosophically. No.
Get the fuck out of here. Like,
now, throughout his life, H.P. Lovecraft's stories had themes of fate and inheritance through your bloodline, like sharing a connection through a long-dead ancestor. It's not hard to imagine that among all of Lovecraft's phobias was the fear that he may very well develop some sort of mental issue and end up dying in the fucking asylum like both his parents did. For sure, his fear of everything contributed to his development of cosmic horror, where it's not just everything is out to get you, but the fucking universe is out to get you. But it was this fear of the unknown, even things you can't see, that led to Lovecraft jumping the horror genre far ahead of its own time. There are actual cults out there that believe H.P. Lovecraft was a messenger and his stories were interpretations of messages the great old ones sent to him in dreams. Because of course there is.
Well, hey, at least they have that and not, like, whatever their made up shit would be. Which would be even more obnoxious. I mean, right? Like,
honestly, I think that that's going to happen in like 100 years, 200 years time, is fucking Neil Gaiman's Sandman is going to go probably the fucking same way, honestly. I think people are going to turn that into a religion. It's written like one, so I get it.
I never got into that. Is he dead yet?
Neil Gaiman? No.
Oh, damn it.
He's a young
I guess
young
I'll never know.
Yeah. No, Sandman, I didn't really give a shit, and I kept reading it, and then when I ended it, I was like tearing up. I was like, that was incredible. It's like, I didn't give a shit until the very end, and now it's like, now I buy those huge fucking leather-bound editions up there.
Holy Christ, you do.
Yeah, dude. They're like $100 each. Like, it is good. I'm gonna go back and reread it, but I didn't really appreciate it the first time. Second time around, I'm sure it'll be a lot better. At least that's how I justify spending. Anyways, so yeah, people believe that he's, the leader of their cult, essentially, because don't forget, a lot of these stories were inspired by dreams that he himself had. A couple of people have even made their own editions of the Necronomicon. The books came under fire. Yeah. The books came under fire.
Every edgelord story you hear in like fucking middle school about
there's actually
fucking
there's actually like 2 or 3 versions, and luckily that's it. I would assume that there would be a lot more, but there's only about 3. But the books came under fire when a guy claiming to be a 500-year-old vampire from Kentucky supposedly used a copy of the Necronomicon for a ritual when he killed a couple kids in 1998.
Okay, so an insane man used a fictional book.
No, Lovecraft did this. Lovecraft and video games. I bet Mortal Kombat did this.
All right, well.
Anyway, since his death, Lovecraft has become a household name in horror, even appearing in a couple of episodes of Scooby-Doo in 2010. Most of his story... Gee.
All right, well, let's see who's really under here. Oh, fuck, that's worse. Like,
he's so ugly. Is your Great Dane Danish?
Like it's literally H.P. Lovecraft chasing him the whole time, and they take off the mask, and they're like, fuck! It's still him!
I would love for them to take off Lovecraft's mask, and it's like Cthulhu underneath. Most of his stories are in the public domain, but I still wouldn't recommend publishing anything for profit because a lot of big-name companies are looking to change that. Oh, and by the way, he had a black cat named...
Nope. Not doing it. Everybody knows it. It's a meme. Everybody fucking knows it.
My sources today. H.P. Lovecraft, complete and unabridged. Barnes & Noble Inc., 2008. Lovecraft, Fear of the Unknown. Weird Documentaries, 2008.
Lovecraft, Fear of the Everything.
Yeah. hplovecraft.com, and of course, Wikipedia. Were you scared?
Was I frightened?
Spooked.
Spooked?
Did you spook your pants?
I mean, I did feel fear throughout this process, mostly when I hit the the stop record button instead of the pause button. We'll see how that goes.
Looks like we're learning how
is that on the same tier? Is that like...
I'm a little scared for how this is going to go, yeah. You may have wasted hours.
That's the fear of the unknown thing, right? Because I have no idea how to fix that.
It is unknown how many spanks you're going to receive tonight. We stop.
You know what isn't unknown? How much I like it.
I got a fucking nautical fish costume I'm ready to just bring out. Just, fuck yeah, baby.
Jesus fuck.
I am the wet fisherman.
I feel like we had like a decent way to fucking end this, and I'm responsible for taking this in a terrible direction.
You're responsible for everything bad that's happened.
I don't know, I guess like... Yeah, no, I mean, dude definitely didn't have a fucking chance to be a normal human being, but definitely took off as a bigger piece of shit.
Well, both of his parents died in asylums. I mean, his dad had syphilis, sure, which does rot your mind. But, I mean, his mom, not really any excuse there.
Syphilis is not hereditary.
No, it isn't. But his mom's crazy. Crazy pantsness might be. I mean, I don't know.
At the same time, like, I mean, just look, man, there's plenty of fucking shit that neither you or me know. There's plenty of shit that we're dealing with in our lives that is absolutely uncertain, and we face that every single day, and it's fucking fine, and we move on with our lives. This dude just dwelled on that.
Yeah, you know what I do?
Just like...
I don't think about it.
Yeah, like, he just dwelled on that, just lived on that, made a kind of career out of that, stressed his entire life, never left his fucking house. And
yeah, that fucking cancer came from stress for sure.
Like, yeah, actually.
Like, he just died of stress.
But yeah, but like, if he was like not living like that, do you think like he would have been...
There was no other way.
Sadder when he got intestinal cancer?
He had two choices, and it was either a sci-fi writer or a serial killer, and I'm happy he went the route that he did. Because we wouldn't have gotten this excellent Nicolas Cage movie I'm about to show you.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, we're watching it.
I'm not doing it. No.
Come on.
No, Nick Cage, fuck you.